We start this hour in North America, specifically Texas and Kerr County, home to Camp Mystic and other summer camps. Search teams have recovered 84 bodies, including 28 children, according to county officials. The overall death toll across central Texas has now risen to at least 104. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez noted that the disaster occurred during a holiday weekend. Through his spokesperson, he expressed condolences to the victims' families and voiced solidarity with those affected, including the people of Texas and the US government. In Centerpoint, volunteers at the local high school have been gathering supplies, including tools, non-perishable foods and water to support relief efforts. Meanwhile, search and rescue crews continue to work along the banks of the Guadalupe River in Ingram, moving through mud and flood waters. Well, joining us to discuss this tragedy with more updates coming through on death tolls as search efforts continue, Arvind Mahajan, Lamar Savings Professor of Finance, joining us from the Texas A&M University College Station in Texas. Arvind, thank you for joining us. The news coming from the affected regions within Texas about this devastating flood continues to come through. The death toll now rising to over 100, but with people still missing and search and rescue efforts ongoing. Firstly, what's the current thoughts of those living within Texas and America about this tragedy?
Still recovering from the shock of the magnitude of this tragedy, especially because it occurred on 4th of July, which is the U.S. Independence Day, and one of the days of perhaps the biggest celebration in the country. So it's been juxtaposed, this tragedy has been juxtaposed against a day which normally is a day of great celebration. And I think the general feeling is one of shock. People are recovering from it. The reality of the tragedy is hitting home. No one expected the death toll to be as large as it has, as you reported, 104 confirmed dead, still quite a few missing. And what makes this especially tragic is that many of these were young children who were attending a summer camp, Camp Mystic, which many people attend, have been, it's a very old camp where young people go when they are young, and when they grow up, they have very fond memories of this place. And just the nature of the tragedy has been very devastating. On the other hand, of course, Texans are hardy people. They are resilient. And at this point in time, I think people are not focused on the sorrow, but really are trying to work very hard in the search and rescue operations. The administration's making it a point to remind people that it is search and rescue and not search and recovery. In other words, there's still an element of hope that they still might find some people alive. But in any case, there's been a lot of support from the community. There are 20 state agencies which have responded. Actually, agencies from Mexico, all the surrounding states have sent people there. So there's no shortage of resources in as far as the recovery efforts go. There also have been fundraising efforts on the internet. So besides the state funds and the federal funds which will be coming, there are resources being gathered to help those who have lost virtually everything, their homes, besides, of course, their family members. And now, gradually, things will enter the second phase. And the second phase, talks have already started in trying to identify what could have been done to alleviate such a situation and what can be done now to make sure that next time, even though this was totally unexpected, perhaps a 100-year flood, but what can be done to alleviate such a situation again.
Yes.
And and that will entail, I think, a significant amount of careful research and scrutiny as to where things went wrong. Because right now, all hands on deck. But then the question will come, uh, where does the blame reside? Could this have been alleviated? There's some information coming, for example, that in nearby towns, uh, the hydrologist, the meteorologist, and the staff forecaster, for example, were not there. There are reports that some years ago, the city of Kerr, it was suggested they should have sirens, but the funding was not allocated, the budget was not allocated. So, along with the grief, the rescue, will come these kinds of questions, which are natural to come. And the intention is not really to put the blame, but really the larger intention is what can be done so that next time a situation like this can be alleviated, a problem like this.
Yes, absolutely. There are, of course, concerns that further rains could lead to more flooding. 5 million people in central Texas do remain under a flood watch. Arvind, very quickly though, before we move on, reports suggesting that Donald Trump will be visiting the affected regions. What's your thoughts on the timing? And is there any responsibility on the president after this incident?
Well, the president will come here on Friday. The White House has announced that. And now starts the politics of the game, the blame game. And of course, as you would expect, the distractors of the president will say the funding cuts of FEMA and other agencies perhaps are a cause. Argument can be made that the previous administration could have funded this well. So that blame game will start, and that is standard, normal politics, if you will. But behind the scenes, I think the more interesting question is how will they identify the problems and how to fix them so that next time a tragedy like this can be averted.